It is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show here in the mothership, which is Studio 22. Puppet Master Mark is at the helm, driving this thing into our nether regions. That popped into my head a couple of weeks ago when I said it, and I was like, I think that our little intro gets longer and longer every time. Now we're driving it into the nether regions.
Somebody's getting offended right now just because you said nether regions.
Most people don't. I don't know that many people know what the nether regions are.
Nether regions.
As I cross my legs. Party Foul Steve, Hot News Natalie hanging out in the pub. What you drinking over there, Nat?
Black Rifle Coffee.
Sure you are. Sure you are. Made for and by Americans that love our country.
That's right.
Hey, people don't believe it when we tell them that you don't drink.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And
Because they think I'm drunk now.
After last week in Vegas, and as hyper as you get, I'm like, God, I understand. Like when we're out places, I'm like, you're so hyper. I can't imagine you.
I know.
With a substance mixed in.
I realize that most people have to take me in doses. I'm just wired for life. I'm excited all the time, and I don't need the alcohol because I really think I would end up on a bar.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I have been on a bar sober, so I think I would end up on a bar naked, and it just doesn't need to happen.
Well, Steve, spike that.
I'm
Dr.
about to
Pepper.
spike your drink over here.
Or I'll just go to sleep.
If many people have watched this show, do you know how many people's dreams come true at just the thought of that? These perverted guys, and you know who you are. They were yelling Hot News Natalie at the airport, right?
They were.
When you were in security?
You have labeled me.
Oh, yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, ooh, I will never not wear makeup at the airport now again because people were like, Hot News Natalie. And I went, oh, gosh, there it is.
I get messages every day about Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, and that's the way they call her, too. And they try to, instead of just Candace, they try to spell it out how it would sound, like Candizy or whatever. Anyway, party time, Mom. Hey, where can people get those shirts right there? Party time, Mom. You get those at shop.blazemedia.com. Did I get that right, Mark? I think I did. I always
I want to say shop.theblaze.com.
Shop.blaze.com or Blaze Media. I don't know. Go to collections, Chad. My man, lawyer in the house. That's right. Got him on retainer. Josh Hammer, Daily Wire. Editor at large. How long you been with Daily Wire?
You know, it was my 1 year anniversary just last week, actually,
Yeah?
believe it or not. I was contributing for a little bit before then, but my formal anniversary was just last week.
That's cool. Did Ben Shapiro throw you a party?
Hard to throw a party remotely. I'm here with you in Texas. They're out in leftist California.
He could have thrown you a virtual party, an online deal. Does Ben takes his Saturdays off, right? That's his Shabbat. I mean, is that his Sabbath? He totally rests.
25 hours from Friday night to Saturday night. That's right. Yep.
I wish I could do that.
You know what? She's politically insane, but Ariana Huffington has actually started to promote the Jewish Sabbath as a good model for the rest of society. And you know what? In today's day and age,
I believe it is.
Yeah, with social media and everything, it's good that you could just take a pause.
Yeah. I did that for the most part Sunday. This past Sunday, I was like, I'm going to chill, and then of course the helicopter crash happened, and the media frenzy. And you have to say something, you know. Yeah, it's not just about Kobe, but then it becomes now you got to honor veterans that have died and everybody that's been in a tragedy ever in the history of the planet because everybody's going to bitch at each other. Oh, you're just talking about Kobe, not. Okay. Everybody's going to die. We're just going to mourn everybody right now. But I've started thinking, I think I'm going to start taking Sundays and just zilch. Because I work on Saturdays. I mean, I do shows and stuff, so.
I think it's a good idea, Chad. Take Sundays off. Maybe get a little football in if possible, but it's a good model. It's a good model, yeah.
No.
I think you're supposed to rest.
It's not going to happen.
We traveled for 12 hours on Sunday, I think.
This past Sunday?
Past Sunday, just because of delays.
No, it was Saturday. That was Saturday we did that. Yeah, we traveled because we had some delays. We missed a connection. And you should have seen us, though, and I'll get back to you in a second, Joshua. You should have seen us the other day. We had 10 minutes to get to a plane in Charlotte. It was a 15-minute walk based on the signs. We made it in 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I am out of shape, brother.
That's the only airport I've ever seen that has that many people running at any given time.
It's a big airport. I've been there numerous times. Huge airport.
It's very user-friendly, I'll say that. But, you know, I've been through Charlotte 100 times, but it's so spread out.
It really is.
Yeah.
They've got good bars, though.
They do have. They got good spots, good places to eat. They got good bars, the whole thing.
Yes, they do.
So you got. What's your opinion on this whole impeachment thing? I know you've got a strong one. We've talked about it some.
Yeah.
What should they call witnesses?
So I don't really understand why Republicans and the president are so opposed to witnesses. I mean, look, in theory, here's how this is supposed to work, okay? The House and Senate are supposed to actually do what they're, supposed to do and write bills and pass laws and all that stuff that the Constitution talks about. It ain't going to happen this year because it's very simple. The Democrats control the House. Republicans control the Senate. It's also an election year. Everyone's risk averse. No one's trying to stick his or her neck out, put their foot on the line. So in that context, I don't really understand this Republican resistance to calling witnesses. Drag this thing out. How is Hunter Biden getting up there not going to help the president and Republicans come November? I don't see it.
I agree. I don't care about John Bolton. All right.
He doesn't scare me either.
I've defended John Bolton in the past. I'm somewhat ashamed of it now because the thing that bugs me is Donald Trump brings these people into his staff and then they're right out and it's a controversy. And that's never a good look. Hire and fire. And John Bolton has this book coming out. And I'm like, it's just like Comey's book when it came out. Who wants to read this crap?
So the worst part is Axios last night, I think I saw broke that the New York Times got a copy of his book before anyone in the administration did. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say John Bolton had anything to do with that, but it's pretty unforeseeable that John Bolton had nothing to do with that. Yeah. That's just not a good look. And like you, I'm a longtime defender of John Bolton. He's a lifelong conservative. He really is. I mean, he went to Yale for both undergrad and law school. At Yale undergrad, he was a member of what the nerds at Yale call the Yale Political Union's Party of the Right, which in their kind of nerdy political club is the most right-wing party possible. Yeah. So he's like a lifelong Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan conservative. So it's a little weird to see what's happening now.
Yeah, the Never-Trumpers, of course, are eating it up. They love it because, of course, John Bolton, he comes out apparently in the book and says that he heard that there was quid pro quo that went on, that there was pressure. My issue there is Zelensky says he never felt any pressure. How can you have political pressure, say we're going to withhold this from you until you investigate this? How can you say he's applying pressure when the guy, the pressuree, says he felt no pressure?
Well, it's doubly stupid. That's probably the first reason why it's stupid. The second reason is that they released the aid without anything happening.
Right.
Nothing happened. I mean, you can't have a quid pro quo if there's a quid but no quo.
Yeah.
And that's probably why, to the Democrats' mild credit, they ended up dropping this whole quid pro quo thing. It wasn't poll testing well because it's stupid, because the American people don't really care for Latin, I guess. But
I've got it tattooed on my arm. I've got Greek here, I've got a little Hebrew over here, and I've got some Latin over here. I'm technically a law school.
What does the Hebrew say?
We'll get into that later on. Something about stoning women. But anyway, that's a whole other issue. Hey, Black Rifle Coffee. It's a veteran-owned premium small batch roast-to-order coffee company for people who love America. They import only the highest quality beans from around the world and always roast-to-order their coffees for you after you place an order to ensure that you receive the freshest coffee available. They develop their explosive roast profiles with the same mission focus they learned as military members serving this great country. All Black Rifle Coffee Company blends are available in the whole bean, the ground varieties. They also have mini roasts available for purchase in single-serve coffee rounds. The best way to enjoy this freedom-filled coffee is with the Black Rifle Coffee Club. What is that? Let me tell you. You choose the amount and the blends that you crave, and they offer it to you at a special discounted price, and it's shipped free directly to your home or office every single month. This added convenience allows you to keep working hard, making America the land of the free, the home of the brave, and you'll never have to rush to the store again. You can wake up every day to America's coffee by going to blackriflecoffee.com/watchchad. That's blackriflecoffee.com/watchchad. Then enter the discount code WatchChad to receive 20% off your very first order of any coffee products, including the Black Rifle Coffee Club. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. It's funny the phraseology that gets to be a big deal trends and then goes away, because in the countries too. You know, we had Russia, we had, you know, you hear Haiti, you have this Puerto Rico deal. You know, Trump was the evil racist for withholding aid after Hurricane Maria, and now they're finding like 7, 8, 9 warehouses full of supplies over there that they've been storehousing and warehousing over there, and it's a bad look. But everybody, you know, hated Trump for Puerto Rico. Then it was a Russian collusion, and then it was Ukraine, and on down the line, all these different things. And then, of course, you had the bribery. You had quid pro quo. All these different words that become big words like collusion.
Right.
Everybody's on everybody's. I mean, no one's ever used the phrase quid pro quo. You have, because you're a lawyer. But nobody ever sits around saying, hey, Natalie, will you make me a sandwich or else?
Quid pro quo?
I want to. Are you engaging in quid pro quo? Nobody does that.
There's nothing like inherently bad or nefarious about a quid pro quo.
Yeah.
It happens in politics all the time. Like literally in Congress, in the context of passing legislation, there's a pretty well-known concept that every high school civics student learns called log rolling, which is where some legislator, this is how you get pork, right? This is how you get pork barrel spending, is one legislator agrees to do something in exchange for another legislator. And obviously, that inevitably ends up entailing more and more spending, bigger government. I'm not defending on the merits, but it is historically and pragmatically a day-to-day reality of what happens in the U.S. Congress. So this happens all the time.
Well, I'm just enjoying all of this senatorial pettifogging that's going on. It's pretty enamoring for me. But I felt like, and we'll get off this impeachment thing here in a second, but I felt like they laid out, 2 days of stuff the left did, or at least the House managers, and then Trump's lawyers take about 2 hours and just dismantle the thing, I believe, in the first half hour. Did you feel that was adequate enough with what was said there?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Chad, you probably watched more of it than I did. It sounds like
I read back through.
Okay,
it, yeah.
I caught the highlights. Pat Cipolloni's a great attorney. I think he did a good job. Look, the outcome of this is foreordained. Okay, the president is going to be acquitted. Yeah. It's just a question of whether they get Collins or Murkowski, or maybe whether Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema or Doug Jones maybe cross over to vote with Mitch McConnell. But other than the exact tally, the president's getting acquitted. We know how this is going to end, and the only questions are they going to call witnesses? How long is this crap show going to play out? How much more of our time is going to be wasted? And who exactly is going to switch? Those are the only questions.
Let's move on. You got a new article that's out where you're talking about the current pronouns. Let's talk about that, because this pronoun thing is something I love to make fun of.
Yeah.
What's going on right now? What's trending? Let's get back to that phrase.
So the basis for this was there was actually an opinion on the court here that I clerked for. So the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, which is here in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, had an opinion earlier this month. United States versus Varner was the case, where a divided panel, 2 Republican-nominated judges in the majority, 1 Democrat-nominated judge in the dissent, where one of the actual live issues, I think this was the first time it happened before that court, was a litigant who was a biological male, but formally moved that the court address him using female pronouns. So the court had to decide on this. And the majority said, no, we're not going to do this. And they used male pronouns. The dissenting judge indulged in this gender dysphoria and said that we will do it and actually use female pronouns. So it was just really fascinating to see like this culture war issue that you and I in the day-to-day mudslinging of politics see every day on Twitter and whatnot reach the federal judiciary. So, yeah, I have a piece in National Review today talking about that. And what can I say? I mean, we're talking about truth, Chad. We're talking about biological truth. Like there are 2 sexes, okay? There's XX chromosome and there's XY chromosome. This ain't complicated. Like I learned this crap in middle school biology. I'm no biologist, I'm no scientist, but I know that there are 2 sexes. And like in the opinion, Judge Duncan for the majority, who's a wonderful judge based in Louisiana, he takes this 5x9 matrix that he borrowed from the LGBTQ whatever center at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, showing all the variations of transgender pronouns, and he literally inserts it into the opinion as a way to basically dismiss it and say we're not gonna do this.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah, and Josh says it so eloquently. Everything Josh says is eloquent. Now here's the way I put it. If I'm in the back seat with you and we're making out, and I put my hand down your pants, I'm going to be very angry or very happy depending on what I find. And I'm only going to find one of two things, period. There's no other variations. For me, that determines your gender. I have to put my hand down your pants. I really don't. But there's only two things you're going to find. What are you rolling your eyes about, Steve? You know exactly how I explain things, and it makes perfectly good logical sense.
Yes, it does.
It does. There it is. And I know people watching this thing or listening to it, they think, why do we care? Why do we care? Why do we care? Well, why do we care? Mm-hmm. Why do we care? Let's answer that question. What's your opinion, Josh? Why does it matter that we care about how somebody else, like what you're describing?
Yeah. So there are two, maybe three reasons why I think we really should care. One is the truth inherently is worth defending, okay? Truth should be defended for the sake of truth. I mean, that's kind of historically speaking the entire purpose of debate in the academy, going back to Socrates, Aristotle, going back to all the ancients. They literally engage in the Socratic dialogue in order to reach the truth. So if we feel like we have the truth, then it is worth defending for its own sake. Second, language cannot change this much and this drastically and remain viable. Now, some words can change meaning over time, of course, and plenty of words do change meaning over time. Like, for example, decimate. The word decimate back in the day, the letters DEC mean 10. So it was literally to take out 1 out of 10 of the opposing military. Today it just means more generally to kind of just wipe out. So words can change their meaning. But what words as basic as pronouns, like the building blocks of distinguishing, as you quite aptly put it, between a male and female genitalia, that cannot change. And words like that just cannot change for the English language to be valuable. And I think the third and probably the most important reason why it's important for us to draw a hard line on this is because there are actually really bad side effects to the transgender movement. We saw it here in Texas with James Younger. We are encouraging the premature preteen sexualization of children. We are encouraging children to choose their own gender and engaging in oftentimes irreversible hormonal tampering. Chemical castration, frankly, is really what's going on here. Yeah. There are corrosive, like actual real life effects of this too.
If you control the language, you control the culture. And that's a big thing. And you're right. I couldn't agree. I mean, stamp of approval times deck. 10, deci. So here's my thing. I mean, you look at Lenin. Lenin's like, we gotta control Vladimir Lenin. We gotta control the population. We gotta control the way people think. Let's just put out our own publication, our own newspaper. We'll call it Truth. It's not. It's propaganda. But we'll use language. We'll use rhetoric. We'll use, to make people, to control the way people think on these things. You gotta fight back on this deal. And it has gotten serious. I mean, if you misgender somebody in the UK, you could go to prison. It's
New York City.
New York City has become that way.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely ludicrous. So you got to fight this stuff. So if I want to be a she, Natalie,
I'm not going to jail for you.
Or else.
I mean, you remember when on Saturday Night Live it was just Pat?
We were walking through the airport the other day, and there was a Pat, pushing a luggage cart right there, and Steve, sure enough, he turns around, looks at me, and goes, "Did you see that, Pat?" Yeah. I mean, you don't know, right?
You don't know.
Yeah. Amorphic, gender, whatever.
I was just thinking a while ago about the statement you made. There's probably a bunch of hermaphrodites right now gathering together and going to throw their outrage on you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Their hate.
It's okay.
Are you scared of them, Chad?
No, I'm really not. I'm really not, man. I don't know. I think it's just gotten it's like somebody just threw it into overdrive and just or hyperdrive. We're just zooming into this insanity and trying to normalize the crazy.
I mean, let me clarify one thing. Hopefully this goes without saying. Okay, I have never experienced gender dysphoria, what psychologists, psychiatrists call gender dysphoria. People who have this, it sounds pretty confusing and awful. So we should have, our Jewish and Christian selves should have compassion.
Sure, 100%.
For the individuals. But the remedy for that is not to indulge in this. It is to encourage them to seek help and to fight back against all the other pernicious effects that we were just talking about.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the suicide rate after someone goes through a change does not drop.
That's absolutely
correct?
right. I think it actually gets worse.
Right.
I mean, in my piece today,
statistically.
I cite today Dr. Paul McHugh, who was formerly like the top dog. I can't remember his exact title at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, one of the top hospitals in the country. And he's been opposing transgender sex reassignment surgery, whatever you want to call it, for years now. On these grounds, like it does not actually help the people that it purports to help.
Yeah, and then you have it kind of started. The Joe Rogan thing started trending over the weekend because he came out and said, "I'll probably vote for Bernie Sanders because so on and so forth." And then Bernie kind of trumpeted that, and then CNN came out and said, "Well, Rogan, who's known for his racist, homophobic, and transphobic remarks, which." Give me a break.
Yeah,
I'm like, go sue him. Sue him. Get whatever Nick Sandman left on the table. Get the rest of the money. But I'm sure people would watch us talking about this, and they would say, well, we're transphobic. No. I mean, I have compassion for you if you're going through it. This is a major thing. Johns Hopkins University has said this is a mental illness. Yeah. And rather than promoting this, if let's say a person has schizophrenia, and they don't know who they are. They've got multiple personalities popping in and out all the time. I would want to see that person get the right help because that's not a healthy way to go through life. If you have one anatomy, and by the way, folks, biology is not bigotry. Don't get that confused. It's not bigotry. It's science. And if you have this turmoil going on inside of yourself that you don't know who you are, God knows, get some help. I mean, look, I got all kind of brain issues. I take medicine for it.
I get misgendered at least once a month.
Exactly.
Somebody walks up behind us in a restaurant or something, ma'am.
That's right.
Like,
sometimes I tell you to call me daddy.
I turned around and they saw my beard and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That's funny. I don't care."
Well,
I'm not going to sue anybody.
No.
In today's day and age, though, you can't assume that it's only men who have beards, though. Am I right?
That's true.
Yeah. I saw a lady at a show the other night who had a full-blown goatee. Yeah. We have a fun demo. Demographic is
It
cool.
sounds like it.
Yeah, we have a real interesting demo. Yeah. I don't know if you caught that or not, but it's true.
Yeah.
We had a bearded lady.
I have another comment I'm going to hold to myself till later.
Oh, no.
Chicken.
It's a game I play at your shows.
Where was the show with the bearded lady?
Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not.
It seems like a West Coast thing. That's why I was curious.
Yeah. No, she wasn't. But yeah,
I don't think you'd find that in Birmingham, Alabama.
No.
They just usually mustaches.
But hey, look, hormones are a blessed thing.
I'm going through menopause. I can't help it.
See, I've got a new bit that I do in the show I'm doing right now, the Am I Crazy show, where I talk about hormones and I talk about women. Women have that hormone and men have that hormone. And then as you get older, we kind of start to change. The women want more of this and the men are a little more like this. And so it's basically talking about the genders. I mean, we deal with this. We got this weird scramble of chemicals going on in our brain. Anyway, when that stuff starts getting messed up, then, you got to get the help for it. I go to the doctor for my brain because I'm crazy.
The only thing I learned right there was that I should be a cougar. That's the only thing that I heard come out of your mouth. Because when I get older, I'm like, yeah. And then you're like,
we know. We know at your age. You're a horn dog, Natalie.
Whatevs.
Poor Joseph. Poor Joseph. Get on the table.
Get on the table.
Anyway, so what do you think about that whole? First of all, let me back up. Let's get in a broader spectrum. At the end of the day, do you buy into the conspiracy idea that Nancy would like to see this thing go to a longer trial so it holds up Sanders and
helps Biden,
and that it helps Biden? I mean, I think that's just thinking a lot into it.
I'm legitimately open to it. I'm not convinced of it, to be sure.
Yeah.
Occam's razor, like the simplest thing is probably the correct thing. Suggests that Nancy Pelosi is just an idiot.
Yeah.
Like just like a bad political
Do you think
actor.
she is? I mean, do you think she's legitimately an idiot or just easy to make fun of?
Well, she's very easy to make fun of.
Yeah.
That is beyond question. I don't think she has a very high political IQ. I don't know what her book smarts are or whatever, but I don't think she's that savvy a political actor. I mean, nothing over her political career has particularly indicated that to me.
Yeah. I begin to wonder about a lot of them in that regard.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So do you think Biden is the guy in the long run? Because to me, he looks like he's just about to snap at any time.
Chad, I write this weekly election impeachment analysis newsletter for the Daily Wire for our subscribers. And what I've been saying for a month and a half now is, I got my hand caught in the cookie jar when I was predicting Liz Warren was surging. So I'm going to say Biden's the front runner until Iowa comes in, and that's coming in real shortly, obviously. Having said that, in my heart of hearts, what I actually feel like, I think Bernie Sanders is going to win Iowa and New Hampshire back-to-back.
Yeah.
And from there, it gets really interesting.
Really interesting,
because Joe Biden probably is still going to win South Carolina, right? I mean, he's got that firewall. He's got huge African-American community support. And then Super Tuesday, he'll probably clean up across the South in general. But then you got Nevada before then. It's going to be really interesting to see how the DNC and the Democrats more generally react if Bernie wins Iowa and New Hampshire back-to-back, because Lord knows the establishment doesn't want that to happen.
Yeah. Let's fire off some things that I think people believe at large, but we don't prove. So there's no way to prove them. So do you think Epstein killed himself?
I do not. Oh, sorry. I think I do think Epstein
killed himself.
I do not think Epstein killed himself.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that there's someone.
Do you think Mossad was involved?
I do not think Mossad was
You're
involved.
a Jewish authority. Come on. Do you think Ghislaine Maxwell could possibly be Mossad?
I'm open to the possibility.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Or some way connected. There's something deep going on there. And I don't even like using the phrase deep state, but there's something deep that's there.
I've actually warmed up to it. I opposed that term for years because I didn't want to sound like Alex Jones with a tinfoil hat. I've warmed up to it a lot, honestly.
I'm simmering. I'm warming up to it. This Vindman guy that was like this kind of stuff. I see so much of that. I'm like, oh. And after the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and the Comey and all this stuff, I'm just like, oh, there's just stuff that's there that I don't like. And I'm not even talking Clinton's, Trump's. I'm just talking, there's a bigger umbrella.
The whole whistleblower process, to me, was kind of just very eye-opening, right? Yeah. I mean, the fact that the whistleblower could get to that high of authority, he was coordinating with Schiff and everything. Like, the deep state, to me, has become almost just synonymous with this entrenched leftist bureaucracy, right? Going back to Woodrow Wilson, the civil service and all that. I mean, it's been there forever. It just seems like they are particularly now obstructionist and trying to hinder the president's agenda.
Yeah. Do you think that the Clintons have been involved in this many murders?
Look, with Hillary and her BFF Huma Abedin, I don't know.
See, I think
I'm open to it.
I think Huma Abedin, I think we're talking Manchurian candidate here. I think that if Hillary had gotten in, it would have been a deadly thing.
Vince Foster did not kill himself. I will certainly say that.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think the boys on the tracks took a nap either. And so we're going to talk about that. We've got an expose coming up, actually. We're going to tie a lot of this stuff in together. The Arkansas Mafia and the Iran-Contra and the boys on the track. And we got a bunch of stuff coming up. You be ready mid-February. But there's so many things out there that people just gravitate to. And, I get messages every day about, Trump is this and Trump is, I can't believe you would support a guy who did that. And I'm like, I don't think of myself as supporting Trump for Trump's sake.
Right.
He's a guy standing in the gap of a whole lot of BS that's going on. And fortunately, he's standing reasonably strong in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. How do you see that?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I didn't even vote for the president in 2016. I obviously did not vote for Hillary, but I was hardcore on the Ted Cruz bandwagon and like all like the personal stuff. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I will enthusiastically vote for him in 2020. His record has been way more conservative than I ever thought it could possibly be. Yeah. And the left has just lost its doggone mind. The Brett Kavanaugh thing to me was I've described it as a civilizational wake-up call.
Amen.
The left was calling that just a job interview for which he might be disqualified. That's not what that was. That was them disregarding and throwing out 5,000 years of innocence until proven guilty norms going back to like Hammurabi in Mesopotamia. Yeah. Like literally like before like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob maybe like I mean like
that's deep.
Like that's pretty far back, right? Yeah. So I'm going to support Trump, but look, like you, Chad, I'm not like a never Trumper. I'm not an always Trumper. I'm a conservative. Yeah. I'm a conservative who supports conservative philosophy, conservative policy, conservative jurisprudence, all that stuff. So when the president does right by my standards, I praise him. Yeah. When he messes up, I try to criticize him. I have a friend last night, Drew White, great guy, used to be on Ted Cruz's staff, Heritage Action. He's in Austin now working for Connie Burden's company, The Texan, doing great work there. He had a really great tweet. He was like, over the past few years, I've learned to just completely shut out every so-called conservative pundit. who's just a blind never Trumper or an always Trumper, because if your whole identity is tied to one man's personality, you don't actually believe in anything.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
No, I have people who they come at us all the time. They're like, "Oh, you guys, you worship Trump," and I'm like, "No, if you would really listen to the entire counsel of what we say on this show and other postings and things like that, we don't. I'm a big critic of Trump, actually, for many things. But again, I appreciate the fact that he's been a stalwart in standing in the gap for some things. He's done several things I don't like. I don't like his approach to the Second Amendment. There's things I don't think bump stock shouldn't have been outlawed. There's stuff that. Just I can nitpick, but there's some things there. And I'm certainly not going to hold him up as some kind of icon to my kids and say, I want you to be like this man.
Right.
I want you to be a billionaire playboy, real estate mogul that goes out and does what he does. I mean, the man is what he was, right? He's a Cyrus, know?
He's doing what he said he would do.
That's exactly right.
He's a barbarian king.
He said, these are the things I would do if I were president.
Yeah.
Like my biggest bone to pick with the president is probably like spending, that the spending, if anything, is now worse than it was under Obama. But here's the reality. Donald Trump did not run as like a Ted Cruz, like deficit reducing fiscal conservative. On the contrary, his entire real estate empire in New York was built on his reputation as the so-called king of debt. He loves debt.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Like, I think the only issue that like he really ran on, that he has not quite fulfilled his promises on, is immigration. And he's tried sometimes. The courts have done a number in holding up that agenda. He probably could do more unilaterally, I think. But other than that, he's really mostly done exactly what he said he would do. He's just not a very traditional conservative is all.
Yeah. I've always said that he's, if anything, probably politically left of center in a big way. Certainly historically
for sure. Absolutely.
So, but he just has done some very pro-America things. And it's amazing to me that people get pissed off at being pro-America. Or America first.
Then you look at immigration, and now you have Mexico that's sending people back to Honduras, and they're stopping them before they can come across.
Right.
So they are kind of,
And that's one thing that Trump has done too. He's actually been very good at getting other countries to do what he tells them to do. NATO is a good example too. When he said like to our European allies, who are increasingly not really allies on the matters internationally that really matter, he was saying, y'all are not holding up your end of the bargain. The NATO charter says you got to contribute 2% of your GDP to defense spending, and like none of you are doing this. And like the Council on Foreign Relations and all the various New York, D.C. foreign policy establishment think tank people criticize the crap out of him for that. But you know what? It worked. Like the Europeans now spending more on defense. So the Mexico-Guatemala thing is a great example too. He's actually done a number on that. I mean, like this new trade deal with Mexico and Canada, from an international relations perspective, I think he's actually been very good, honestly.
Yeah. I like to watch it happen. We'll see. We'll see. It's amazing to me. When you just put him side by side and you got Nancy Pelosi and her signing her articles of impeachment and them turning it over on the same day he's doing this phase 1 trade deal with China. And it's like, good God. At what point in time do you guys just step back and say, but they just hate the man so much. They just hate him.
Orange man bad, right?
Hate him.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. They have their TDS has turned into a full-blown case of syphilis.
That's a great line, Chad.
You're welcome, America. You're welcome. We've got I don't know if you've seen it or not, but if you go to my website, watchchad.com, you've got in our store, we've got the Trump 2024 campaign shirts.
I've not seen that.
They're selling like crazy. Just because, for me, if you're going to have the Trump derangement syndrome so bad, then we're just going to stir it up to continue to make you more maddening. And so I came up with the Trump 2024, which it could be. It doesn't have to be Don. It doesn't have to be Big Don. It could be anybody. But I just love playing on the whole tyrant thing. He's a dictator, as Nadler said. No, if he was a dictator, you wouldn't have a place to be saying those things, right? Dictators don't usually allow opposing speech to come at you.
If he was a dictator, he would be doing any number of things, right, unilaterally, as opposed to deferring to Congress and the judiciary. In my opinion, he's actually, it's going to sound a little weird maybe, he's not being quote-unquote dictatorial enough. I think on the immigration thing, he could be doing a lot more unilaterally as opposed to letting the courts just run his immigration agenda.
Yeah. Well, he does keep the kids in the cages. That's where I keep my kids. Dog crate, but tomato, whatever.
You're a great American, Chad.
I am. I just like to train them. You never know when we got to travel, kids. I'm just getting you guys ready to be detained. That's the only deal. That and I make them eat bat soup. I want to build up I just want to fortify their immune system. Have you seen the bat soup thing with the whole coronavirus? Have you seen the pictures of the bat?
I have not seen the actual pictures of the bat soup.
God.
I literally can't even fathom what it takes for someone to eat, drink that, whatever it looks like. It's
a bat. It's looking at you. I mean, it is a full-blown Bruce Wayne there.
Definitely not kosher, I can say that much.
It's not kosher. Let me tell you something, folks. We started off talking about biblical law. You read the Torah, okay? Get into the law. I'm telling you, take that seventh day off, which, by the way, the seventh day, that's Saturday, okay? Do whatever you got to do. Take a day off and go back to some kosher guidelines in terms of how you control your diet, because, my gosh.
Well, bare minimum, don't have bat soup, right?
Bat soup. It's staring at you with teeth and everything. Oh, and the wings are out. It's got fur on it still. Oh, these people are eating it. And then they show pictures of these Chinese markets, which, as you've made the point, Steve, they've been eating that for 5,000 years. You know, it's the same stuff.
I said 1 million, but you know.
But yeah,
5,
you said like 219 million. But Steve just starts making up numbers.
I just want to hear people tell me when the Earth began.
But I see these animals laying out there in the market, and I'm like, I can't even identify what that is. And I'm educated in animal husbandry. I don't know what that is, right? So anyway, hope keep that stuff in the mainland over there. Don't be bringing it over here.
Has there been a Texas case yet?
Not a Texas case.
Okay.
What's the closest? I know we've got Toronto,
Arizona,
Indiana,
Arizona. Yeah.
I want to say there was somewhere like Illinois, maybe a case like that.
Yeah, I know. I started coughing over the weekend. I started checking symptoms. I got on WebMD.
Did you really?
Yeah, no, not really. But I don't go to WebMD. It just says you're going to die.
Cancer.
You got a hangnail. You got 5 months.
Every time.
It's terrible. Where can people find everything you're doing?
On Twitter, Josh_Hammer. At the Daily Wire, I've got stuff every day.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest place. Yeah.
Do you ever feel pressure to perform?
Do I ever feel pressure to perform?
Yeah. Like to have something profound every single day for Daily Wire? Because I know there's a high standard there.
Yeah. The short answer is no.
Yeah.
I definitely don't feel pressure with you, Chad.
Amen.
You're a very welcome guest.
Amen. I love what you do. I've always loved what you do.
I appreciate that,
And
brother.
I read what you do, and you make it look easy. That's why I ask that question. You make it look easy. Now, me, we have politicalcowboy.com. I've got contributors. There for a while, my time was so consumed. I was like, I can't do an article a day. It's just too much with everything else I got going on. But I'm trying to recommit myself to going back to that because it has a great reach. And of course, mine's kind of a tongue-in-cheek poke at the politics of the day.
So I write quickly. That's one thing that I've just always been able to do. So it works well for me.
Yeah. It's always a good time hanging out with Josh Hammer. Follow him on Twitter. It's very insightful. Very insightful. Make sure you're reading his articles. Check him out. He probably send you his address if you want to send him some donations, financial contributions. We're all about remuneration around here. Look at Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians, and Herbert the silent deer right over her shoulder there, still making the face he was when he got hit by that truck.
You can go to watchchad.com and buy you a Herbert the Silent Deer t-shirt.
That's right. You got the Herbert. Go over there and grab one of those things, Steve.
Is there one over there?
Yeah, I think somewhere. There's and then of course you can go to partyfoulnation.com and we got merch everywhere, man. We're a t-shirt world around here.
I just asked for one of the 2024 Trump 2024, and and I said I'm willing to pay for it. He's like, I've got to fulfill the orders already. I'm like, I don't ask for a lot on the show.
I just said I have to fulfill all the standing orders.
I should get a shirt.
And then I'll take care of it.
Yeah, there's hundreds of them going out. Steve's got a lot to do.
Yeah.
There it is. There's Herbert. Studio 22 right there with the microphone in his face. That's a callback to the old studio we were in.
I'm bringing a few of these to Bakersfield and Reno and
Visalia. We'll be there this weekend. We're going to Bakersfield, California. We'll be there on the 30th, which is Thursday night. And then on the 31st, we're going to Visalia, California.
Long country music tradition in Bakersfield.
Oh, big time.
Bakersfield sound.
Big time.
I've got a reputation in Bakersfield.
Yeah, we got thrown out of a bar last year.
Jeez.
Fight broke out. And wasn't our fault, but one of our guys got attacked. And, of course, we're rednecks, so we fought back. I didn't. I don't want to get any of this messed up, But Steve was throwing punches. Steve was in there. He was hitting our guy. True story.
Friendly fire.
I didn't know whose ribs I was punching.
Yeah, Steve was just taking body blows. So giving body blows out, just taking shots. We were in the bar in Bakersfield. I love going to Bakersfield. We go every year. And we were in this bar, and this guy was wearing a Folds of Honor pullover. And this guy stopped me as I was coming back from the restroom. He's like, man, I really like that thing you're wearing, whatever. And I said, yeah, Folds of Honor, great organization. Thanks for supporting. And I went on. I thought he was a cool dude. And he'd gone out to, I guess, have a cigarette or something, this guy. He comes back in. He's pretty drunk. And our buddy Vince Moreno was with us.
Pretty drunk.
He was pretty drunk. And the guy smarted off at Vince. He said something kind of racist to him.
Yeah.
And Vince was like, hey, he was willing to blow it off. But the guy didn't stop. So then the guy kind of shoved Vince. Well, that ain't a good idea. So Vince's Mexican little fire plug body jumped up out of that chair and went to wailing on that guy. And everybody, it was a melee, and Steve was wailing on
I was wailing on Vince.
Vince was like, I think I broke my rib. I said, no, I think Steve broke your rib.
Chad, how often would you say that you and your team get thrown out of bars?
That's it. That's the only time in all the years. And so I was like, I was across the thing. I was having a conversation with somebody who had come to the shows, and I texted Steve right in the middle. As soon as it broke out, I said, get his ass out of here. Mm-hmm. And
the bouncer was dragging me out by then.
And so I look, and Steve's in the middle of it, and I was like, well, he ain't going to get that text. So I was like, okay, boys, time to peace out. And we were walking down the thing, and these couple of cowboys at a bar across the street recognized us, like, hey, where y'all going? And say, well, we got to get out of here. Why? And say, well, there's a little
so we gave
touch-up in there.
We gave a description of the guy.
They're like, oh, we're going there and tune that up. So, yeah, man, Bakersfield's a great
for you, Bakersfield.
I've never been. I should make it.
It's a cool place. It's a cool little place. It's a California redneck town. And when I say that, in a nice
people.
way, in a great way. Good
Chad
folks.
knows a bar.
Yeah.
He'll take you to it.
Well, we had
I think Kevin McCarthy's from there, right? The house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have people all the time have always described me as a modern Will Rogers or whatever. I didn't ask for that, and I don't wear it, but people say that. But because of that, Will Rogers' family has reached out to me, and they live there. His granddaughter lives there. She runs all of his Heritage Foundation and stuff out of Oklahoma, so she's back and forth. Reached out. They're big fans and want to visit when we go out there and give us some stuff. And
how cool is that?
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big honor. I mean, people say that. I'm like, first of all, do y'all even know who Will Rogers was? Like what he did? I mean, yes, he was a humorist. Yes, he was an actor. Yes, he was a rodeo guy and a performer. But he was a Democrat. But the beauty of it is he made fun of politics.
Right, exactly.
And everybody's like, well, Will Rogers would never do that. And I'm like, yeah, he made fun of politics. That was his shtick in a big way.
That's like what he's known for, right?
Yeah, yeah. And last year we pitched we met with a TV producer out in Hollywood, and it was a great meeting. And my manager, he goes, I want to take you over here to Will Rogers Park. And he said, it's just a good place just to go chill. We had a great meeting. So we go over there, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And he goes, yeah, and we're walking through the park, and he goes, and that bathroom over there, that's where George Michael got arrested for giving a blowjob to the. I was like, okay, way to ruin Will Rogers Park in Beverly Hills. Thanks.
It's what you remember.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Chad Prather was talking about BJ's on his podcast,
and Steve was bringing it back up.
Yeah.
I'm using the Will Rogers Airport in OKC for the first time in like 2 weeks. Is it a nice airport? I'm sure you've been
good,
there.
yeah. It's user friendly.
Okay, good.
I always term airports in terms of user friendly, and it's pretty reasonable.
That's an important metric.
Yeah, it's not some like DFW is not user friendly.
I hate DFW.
It's a horrible layout for an airport. Dallas-Fort Worth is horrible. If you know the airport, it's fine. We know the airport because we're in it every other day. But if you don't know that airport...
I couldn't find the car the other day.
Yeah.
And it was valeted.
Yeah, we valet the vehicle, but if you come into Terminal D, you got to go upstairs. Anyway, we're rambling on about stuff. Josh _Hammer. That's his Twitter. And, of course, Daily Wire. Check him out. Do it. Always a pleasure. Doors always open. Anytime we got a hot topic, I want you to come back in here, okay?
You got it, my man.
We're going to schedule. We're always going to schedule it a half hour later than we plan, because I know it's hammer time.
I am chronically late. It is not good.
I call it hammer time because Josh comes in. He texts me. He's like, I'm going to be a little late. That's cool. We were running a little late ourselves. Oh well. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Impeach 45.
Ain't happening.
Maxine, did you do the Facebook, Instagram? Or the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram,
challenge.
Tinder challenge.
No,
with all the four. Have you seen those?
No, I don't even know what this is.
Okay, I'll show it to you later on. I did. It shows this what you would put your profile picture on each one of those platforms. LinkedIn, you're a little more professional.
Yeah.
Facebook and
Tinder's
Instagram
slutty
and
as
Tinder,
hell,
you're
yeah.
slutty.
Grindr.
Yeah. So I did my 3 pictures, and then I put Anthony Weiner doing his selfie on my Tinder profile.
That's awesome.
But for Maxine, impeach 45. I did a pile of poo, and Maxine. She dressed herself
What
up
is
for
Anthony
Tinder. Weiner
doing these days? Is he in jail?
I don't know. He's back with Huma.
He's back with whom?
He's back with Huma. I mean, she just can't say no to the Wiener. She can't. Huma Abedin cannot say no to the Wiener.
What a bizarre couple.
Really bizarre, dude. I'm telling you, it's a setup. It was a setup. The whole United States cosmic galaxy was upset when Hillary Clinton. It was supposed to be a done deal when she lost. It was like the world turned on its head.
Has there been a more surprising presidential election result ever in the history of the
Not that
country?
I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of either, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, you would probably have to go back.
Way back,
But
yeah.
I still, in terms of the controversy that ensued with it, I don't know. Crazy stuff. 2020 is going to be interesting. And 2024 is going to be even better. Go to watchchad.com and get your Trump t-shirts. I love y'all. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye.